In Book 7 of Plato's Republic, an allegory of a cave is utilized to explain the philosopher's dilemma, the ignored or rather neglected soliloquy that a philosopher must trifle with, as those who don't listen, disregard, or even reject what could be, and possibly is, the truth. In the cave, a fire burns behind prisoners who have been chained and raised in the darkness since childhood, and whose heads are locked in a forward-facing position. Shadows that form on the walls in front of them and sounds that echo throughout the cave is all that they know. But in Plato's allegory, a prisoner is freed and sees the world for what it is. It's bright, blinding. The sun is the source of all light. They don't just see shadows, but they see what creates these shadows. Once the prisoner has adjusted to the light and is willing to navigate this world, they return to the cave to help free and show the other prisoners what they've learned. However, it's dark, they no longer feel comfortable in the cave, and no longer see the shadows for what they once were. The other prisoners scoff and violently reject these foolish claims of a real world, which this is the dilemma. This very premise is what Socrates faces at his trial. Although accused of corrupting the youth and impiety, Socrates' true accusation is disrupting Athens' social order by questioning what Athenians believe to know and attempting to pursue answers through dialectic methods. The proposal of a violent rejection of truth from a prisoner so engulfed in what they believe is reality points to how Socrates is viewed during his trial. Socrates is seen as a disruptor and as a sophist. In this light, Socrates would be the escaped prisoner who tries to make sense of the world, and when his attempt to communicate this experience is met with ridicule and violence, the only end he'll ever achieve due to his inability to convince those of what he has seen will be that of exile or death. So then, when we attempt to communicate the rights and the wrongs of the world to those who seemingly don't care or are unwilling to learn, how then do we avoid being ignored or being met with violent rejection? And if this is the case, how can we allow for a select few to communicate and dictate what is just, what is unjust, and what is acceptable? What is justice? Is it rewarding your friends and punishing evil? Is it righting wrongs? Is it vengeance? Is it good? Will it bring happiness? What does it accomplish? I would like to attempt to comprehend justice using Plato's dialogues in the Republic, while also dissecting V for Vendetta's vindictive comprehension of justice, the punishment of those vanguarding vice and violating volition. V for Vendetta is a graphic novel from 1982 turned to film in 2005, which brought attention to a philosophical discussion about the opposing political ideologies of fascism and anarchy and Thatcherism. V's ideology, his philosophy, is one of anarchy, which, for the most part, anarchy's definition of pure chaos has been far removed due to misnomers from what it really means. Anarchy, at its core, is without rulers, not without rules. V's anti-government philosophy poses a threat to any authoritative figure because in anarchy, authority belongs to everyone. It's the reason for why V sees justice as a vindictive process. In order for someone to be vindicated, they must suffer a fate enacted by V, a punishment. And those who suffered at the hands of what V calls vermin will be vindicated as the vigilant and the virtuous. In Book 1 and 2 of Plato's Republic, a similar idea of justice is contemplated and discussed between Socrates and Thrasymachus, along with Cephalus and Polemarchus. Life is easier when you're old. Maybe it's because of well-ordered souls and easy tempers as you get older. Maybe it's because of the wealth you have when you're older. I don't know. No wealth can make a bad man at peace with himself. Although wealth does allow the ability to live justly. What is justice? Speaking the truth and paying your debts? Couldn't telling the truth cause harm in certain cases? No. Restoring to each man what is his due is just. Assisting friends and harming enemies is just. Might one misjudge both friends and enemies? If they're friends, then they're good. And if they're not good, then they were never your friends. But is it just to hurt anybody? No, never. Justice is simply the advantage of the stronger. The advantage of the ruling body, those in power, the stronger, who frame laws to suit their own interest, but that this interest is for the good of the society. Justice preserves the procedures that exist, democracy and tyranny alike. This is where V comes in. explaining that those with such power do not have the interest of the society in mind, but purely their own. It's where he believes that people shouldn't be afraid of their government, governments should be afraid of their people. It's why V says take action, do something worthwhile, and free yourself. That is justice, the freedom to rule and not be ruled. It's interesting to see Thrasymachus' definition and V's definition both illustrate either how justice should be utilized or how it functions currently, rather than what Socrates is trying to accomplish, which is to discover the true meaning of justice. The essence of justice emerges as a complex interplay of power, authority, and individual freedom. The pursuit of justice, as seen through Socrates' relentless questioning and V's call to action, transcends any firm definitions. It's a dynamic exploration, a dialogue that challenges established norms. In our own quest for understanding, let us embrace the uncertainty of justice. Beyond rigid definitions, justice becomes a journey, a continuous conversation about what is right, what is wrong, and how we navigate the shadows of our own beliefs. So, as we grapple with the philosopher's dilemma, it should be seen as an invitation to question, to contemplate, and to engage in a dialogue that evolves with our evolving understanding of justice. In doing so, we may find that justice is not a destination, but a perpetual exploration of the principles that shape our world. In the pursuit of justice, not as a static concept, but as a dynamic force that propels us towards a society guided by morality, virtue, and the freedom to question, a thought that we should all have is that this will make us better.